Oh, look at this $20 bill up here.
Who sits in the first row? How many of you write? I'm just wanting to start that way. Oh, wow, this is fun. And I know Barbara writes. That was my first question, Barbara. Like, how many of you write? I wanted to read some poems about my family, so to kind of go in your brain. How many of you have written about some crazy uncles in your family? I guess that's what I'm saying. I have a lot of uncles, and sadly I did. My dad is the youngest of 6, and they grew up in a coal camp. So either they're my uncles or they married in. But a lot of the memories of my uncles are about them just teasing the boy cousins to the point of tears, including their own kids. I mean, it was almost like a hazing thing. And I thought about that a lot, but that's not my poem, because they treated me so sweet. They're like these southerly gentlemen. So I'm going to read this one first. For my mountain uncles, those men long gone. You rose from coal dust, played ball on the slate pile. Your feet splashed red, clouded creek water. You smelled of cigarettes, red men, and Jim Beam. You were all limbs, long arms that wrapped me tight, hung easy over my shoulders on the porch swing. I never saw you angry, not once, though your people started famous feuds and your hollers echoed gunfire. I would honor you, but I've no boys to take your names, no boys to raise upright. I would teach them to open the door, ladies first, to take their hats off in church. My girls won't know men like you. I must teach them to treat themselves fine, to walk tall like they are meant to be first. They will need pistols tucked in shining black purses and handkerchiefs that are always clean. So I hadn't read this poem in a while. I picked this collection up and started looking through it. My grandmother on my dad's side, the coal camp grandmama, I never knew her, but she's the one that carried the pistol in her purse at all times, had some heat. She's tough as nails. There's so many stories, and I feel like I have her, even though I never knew her. And I realized as I was thinking about this, a lot of my poems are about this scattered family, and either I'm away from them or their past, and the pieces that I carry with me of them. This next one is about my other grandma, my nanny is what I called her. She's not carrying a gun around. She was super feisty. She's kind of known for cussing out the bank tellers, and they could hear her through the car drive-through, but she didn't get that. So that's scary. So this is when I was separated from her, and again trying to carry a piece of her with me. I often came through her cooking. One Thanksgiving, I made a General Jackson pie. That's what my nanny called a chocolate pecan pie. But how long would it bake? I was in a different state, and I asked her over the phone. As I yanked the oven door open again. Has it set yet? She asked. It needs to set. But how will I know? How can I tell it's done? Her soap operas blared through the phone. Nanny? Nanny? I wish you were here to eat a piece with me. Her voice answered back through the static. I love you, Tina girl. And she was gone. She didn't write a recipe down. She had it all in her head, and I tried, and in her later years to, can you tell me the recipes and let me write them down? And she could just list out the ingredients, but the directions, she wasn't, I don't even think she had it. It just was so rote to her, she couldn't tell me the directions either. So I'm going to go, this book I wanted to read from because I haven't yet, and it's a collection with 5 poets. You get 5 Berea poets were right there on the back, and Barbara's in here, and Vicky's in the other room, and Libby and Dorothy. This was a joy to work on because we blended our voices together instead of just section for Tina, section for Barbara. We looked at the whole body of poems. So I think it's kind of emotional for me to sit down. That's probably why I hadn't really looked at it until yesterday. I was like, oh, look through here. So in here I'm going to follow the thought of my family is in this next one, and then it kind of goes into this time of great life when the girls were really small and I was home with them and nursing them. My family was aging quickly, and several of them died during this time of great life. So I think that's another thread in my poems, is how those two things collide. Oh, it's this little strip of paper one. Here we go. Hour of need. Life pulled at my shirt, lifted it and sucked from my breast. We rocked through death. Uncle J.D. was first, his lungs filled with water. The trip too far, we rocked despite his death. Then Uncle Jack, he got cancer all over. Aunt Sue scattered his ashes on the New River. We rocked, their lips hungry at my breast. Aunt Poochie passed in her house dress and slippers. I don't know what took her. My daughters drank and grew strong. Oh, how they ran and laughed. My best friend's father next, like an uncle, he drove us to the mall and called his women heifer. We rocked through his death. I hoarded life. I held it to my chest. I never grieved them, so I carried them still. They are my dead. Their weight pulls curdled milk from my breasts. My best friend's birthday was yesterday, and I was reading through here, and I was like, oh, I totally forgot to put that part about her dad. I hope she doesn't buy the book. I was like, please don't buy the book. I was like, don't buy the book. Okay, so I'm good on time. That's good. This is a poem I thought would be just a bunch of one-line poems. Like people who heard me talk about my writing, I just tend to get little tiny snippets in my journal. I don't have the space and time to like write long, epistles at a time. So, but I just kept finding these one lines, and I was reading another poet, Rachel Zucker, who writes these really long, expansive poems on mothering, and I was like, that's what this is going to be. So it turned into this long poem that dives into a lot of different emotions. When my 4-year-old asks, Mama, will me and Opal die one day? I want to say no. I want to say no, you won't. But instead, I don't say anything. Do we need to get old for that? She is persistent. This is what she wants me to say. But I can't say that because it could be today. Salmonella from a cantaloupe or E. coli from a hamburger. My 2-year-old pushes beads along colored wire, her lips pursed. She picks one color at a time, pushes up and down to line them up. She hears us, but she is too small to ask questions. What was your childhood lacking? The prompt of the day asks. Paint, sky, words, a stage on which to dance. But how can I give them all that? Maybe if I give something up, if I don't exercise. What is wrong? Ehow says, this is good to ask yourself before the first counseling session. I made them stand still to get their hair fixed. I let their hair go unbrushed. I wake in the night and feel sad. In the day, I am restless and drained. I call to check for messages, but there are no new messages at this time. Describe your feelings about the problem. I feel blank, blank, and blank. List the reasons you are seeking help. When I read, the older one asks Mama, why does your face look mad? And when Daddy tells her I'm a writer, she says Mama writes stored lists. I see the younger one's head slam down the concrete steps, her body mashed by a truck's tires. I see her face down in the tub. I read a news article about a pastor who beat his teenage daughter with a shoe during an argument about her going to a party. And I get it, I side with him. He pinned her down, held her down, and then, pinned her arms, held her down, then the shoe. He just needed her to do what he said. Mama, why is the sun so hot? My 4-year-old asked. It's a ball of fire. It's actually a star. The sun's not up yet. It's still dark. Already we see the bus pulling children up the hill to our house. First, we see the light blink open the trees, then the sound of exhaust, like a breath held long and let out. We walk toward it and wait. When the door opens, she will need to climb the steps by herself. At bedtime, I'll be ready to sing Hush, Little Baby when she stops me. To say, Mama, today on the playground no one wanted to play with me. The sun was in my eyes, Mama. I wish you were always with me. That was hard to get through without crying. And I think because Diana was with my girls when they were around that age, I was like, oh, they're not that age anymore. How am I? Okay. So I can answer questions. I don't think I can read another poem in a minute because I got myself sad. But thank you for being here to listen to my poems. That's like I said, that was my long poem, and it's the first time I've read it. So and thank you for yours. Wow, that goes fast when you read a long poem.
Do you, and we may have talked about it in the time you were visiting us, but I don't recall. What's your best time of the day that you write, or do you just, what's your, not your process, but what's your most productive time?
In an ideal world, it would be early in the morning, and I would just get up and not do a thing. But that happens only a couple of times a year when I'm on retreat, that I really get up and don't do another thing. I'm really like that type that's super organized, right? So I literally, like, I can get up and I'll just start doing a million things and making my lists. But to go back to that, I take what I can get. I think that's how I have pushed through and written poems and collecting them, is I kind of gave up saying, what's the ideal time? Because then it'd be like, you're beating yourself up because you don't get to do it. And that's not very productive. So I'm very gentle, and if I can get a lot written in 5 minutes. Like, that is what surprised me with being a mama. If I keep my notebook with me, and then if I can get 5 more minutes, that's golden, and keep writing.
Do you write in succession, or do you think, this would be a good beginning, or this would be a good ending? Or?
Oh no, it's super messy. So I never know where I'm going. I just write as I can. What is kind of pressing on me, and then I figure that out later after I've had some space from the mess I've made in my notebook. Yeah, so that's awesome. Yeah, thanks for asking questions. That's always my favorite part.
I know you're all but I know